You are in the Temple of the Rants, where I rant about whatever my $15 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by becoming one of those. This one's for Shia's Guard, who says, regarding Namco Bandai's aggressively marketing Dark Souls as an exceedingly difficult game, is it a fair label, or has it ultimately done a disservice to the series by drawing conversation toward combat and away from lore and world building of Lordran? I think it's done. I think it's done great things for the series. I mean, let's face it. The Souls series would have been an extremely niche title forever. Like, Demon Souls, when it came out, nobody made a big deal out of it. It got great reviews. I knew people like, because my friend Don-san was hype about the game when it came out in Japan. He was talking about it all the time. He bought it day one when it released here. Didn't seem like it was getting a lot of coverage. Didn't seem like a lot of people knew about it. But those who did, like, they did consider it an incredibly difficult game. Now, granted, a lot of the difficulty in the Soul series is knowledge-based. It's not really that the games are hard to play, like, in a physical sense. It's more that they're hard to understand. It's hard to figure out what to do. So, like, in the case of Demon Souls, it probably would have just been this niche title that only a select amount of people would care about. And maybe that would have been better for a lot of people who, don't want to have to deal with a fandom being attached to their thing. But when Dark Souls came out, it was the marketing of this idea that it's this extremely hard game that got so many people to play it. And, maybe a lot of those people came in with the wrong expectations, or they approached it the wrong way. But frankly, they would have either way. Like, the difficulty of the game is always going to be apparent, because nobody's going to come into it and just know how it's supposed to be played right away. It's about taking an interest and wanting it. You have to already be in the mindset that you want to play this game for some reason. And for a lot of people, it's, I want to be able to say that I conquered this difficult challenge, that everybody's telling me this game is amazing, but it's so hard, and I want to be able to prove that I'm a bad enough dude to have done it myself, And that's a great way to get people's foot in the door. Is Dark Souls actually that hard? I think that it's a mischaracterization of the game to say that it's that hard. Do I think that appealing to the lore and stuff like that would have drawn in more people? Not necessarily. Like, the lore is also difficult to understand. Most people don't necessarily take an interest in that stuff just by playing the game. They take an interest in that stuff by hearing about it from VaatiVidya or something, learning about the lore. And then, again, it's about having a foot in the door. So, for me, the appeal of the Souls games has more to do with level design and aesthetics and just the feel, the thematic feel of the game, When my friends were playing Demon Souls, it was my friends, my brother, we're all playing it at the same time, and I looked at it as just a really hard game that I wasn't that interested in. I thought the aesthetics were cool. I was kind of drawn in by the H.P. Lovecraft influence, but, like, it didn't seem like a game that I would have a lot of fun playing. And then when Dark Souls rolled around, it was watching my friends play it and seeing how excited they got, and seeing the level design, learning about all the secrets, watching those VaatiVidyas, watching other people analyze the game, that made me want to play it. It made me want to take interest. And even then, I was too bad at it. I just sucked at the game and I never got that far in it. I didn't end up playing through them all until after Bloodborne, and it was not because I was drawn in by, I didn't finally play it because of the lore or because of any other reasons that I knew the game was good, because I'd already seen videos explaining that. I got into it because I found out it wasn't that hard once you knew what to do. Once I figured out that you could cheese the games by just putting a lot of your points into just nothing but vitality and strength, and then maxing out your weapon level as fast as possible, the games aren't hard. And I'm speaking as somebody who sucks at video games. Like, I am legendarily bad at games. I haven't been able to beat Sekiro because I am not good enough. Because that game actually is hard. That game is actually hard because timing is important in that game. You have to be able to deflect enemy attacks. You can't just get by over-leveling yourself in the way you can in the Souls games. And, or not even just over-leveling, but just, knowing how to play the game smart, basically. Because, someone as bad as me shouldn't be able to beat a game if it's legitimately hard. Those games I had an easy time with once I knew what to do. Once I knew about, how upgrades work and all that. So, like, I do think that there's a lot of people who maybe have been turned away from the Souls games because they think that it's harder than it is. When I hear about people talking about how the games need an easy mode, I'm like, there is an easy mode. It's called knowing how to play. Like, that's the only easy mode you need. The game is easy. You just have to know how to play. All of the difficulty is in the knowledge. But do I think that it was wrong of them to market the game that way if it led to that conclusion? No, because nobody would have even paid attention to it. They had to have something to latch onto. The lore was not going to get people interested. The base, like, level design, like, these are too high level of concepts to be a foot in the door. Like, when you work in advertising, you don't appeal to complex emotions and feelings because people don't know how to connect with that instantaneously. They connect with that once they're involved. It's all about the immediacy. What can you tell people about this that will make them want to play it right away? It's hard. All right. If you care about games being hard or you want to prove that you're good at games, you'll do this. But because the game is so good, even beyond the people who played it because it's hard, people won't stop talking about it. I think it was a perfect marketing campaign, and ultimately, you have to remember, these games exist for all time. It's not like only the window of when they released is important to the legacy of the game or its ability to continue to be marketable. Once people like me go around saying the game's not hard, and tell people who have continually missed out on the game because they think it's too hard, if we keep spreading the message that, hey, you can be good at it, you just got to come at it from a different angle, people will eventually figure that out and more people will play it. So, even long term, this marketing strategy works once the facts have been separated from the slogans. So yeah, I think it was probably the best possible marketing they could have done to make those games way the fuck bigger than they had any right being. Like, Dark Souls selling like 2 million copies was like a huge benchmark. Like, From Software's never sold that many games before, and they've been around since the 90s, but like they make niche titles. So yeah, I think and it's because of that. It's because of the fact that it was so successful that we got the incredible visual design and higher end graphics of Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3, and Sekiro. So I couldn't be happier with the way things played out. I think they did a good job.